Hello and welcome to this class. We're going to talk about the negation in the present tense. In lesson 1, you saw that in conjugating Swahili verbs, you have to include at least 3 elements: the subject prefix, the tense infix, and the verb root. Now let's see how to negate verbs in the present tense. There are few important characteristics of the negative present tense form. First, the affirmative ending a changes to a in the negative. The present tense infix na is omitted, and third, the negative prefix ha, as in hapana, meaning no, is added. The only exception is in the mimi, which is I form, where the prefix is si instead of ha. Also in the wewe, you singular, and yeye, he or she forms. The a, ha in ha is absorbed by the vowel at the beginning of the subject prefixes u and a. That gives you the foreign conjugation of kutoka, which means to come from, with hyphens added only to indicate the components and not to show the whole world. We have the affirmative and the negative. The prefix plus with na, with an hyphen, plus verb stem, and then in the negative of the negative, that the prefix plus negative plus the stem. The first example, mimi ninatoka. In the negative, sitoki. Wewe. In the affirmative, unatoka. In the negative, hutoki. Yeye, the third one, yeye anatoka. In the negative, hatoki. Sisi. In the affirmative, tunatoka. Sisi tunatoka. In the negative, hatutoki. The next one, nyinyi mnatoka. In the negative, hamtoki. The last one, wao. In the affirmative, wanatoka. In the negative, hawatoki. Let's look at examples with kusoma, which means to study or to learn. Notice again that the Swahili may be translated either as a simple present in the studies or the present progressive is studying in English. And don't forget that the yeye forms can mean either he or she. Example, mimi ninasoma. Mimi ninasoma, which means I'm studying or I study. The next one, which is the negative, mimi sisomi. Mimi sisomi, which means I'm not studying or I don't study. The next one, wewe unasoma. Wewe unasoma, which means you are studying or you study. The next one, wewe husomi, which is the negative. Wewe husomi, which means you are not studying or you don't study. The next one, yeye anasoma. Yeye anasoma, which means he's studying or he studies. The next one, which is the affirmative, the negative, yeye hasomi. Yeye hasomi, which means she's not studying or she does not study. The next phrase, sisi tunasoma. Sisi tunasoma, which means we are studying. We are studying or we study. The next phrase, which is the negative form, sisi hatusomi. Sisi hatusomi, which means we are not studying or we don't study. The next phrase, nyinyi mnasoma. Nyinyi mnasoma, which means you, as in plural, are studying or you study. The negative form of that phrase is nyinyi hamsomi. Nyinyi hamsomi, which means you are not studying or you don't study. The next phrase, which is the last one, wao wanasoma. wao wanasoma, which means they are studying or they study. The negative form of the statement is wao hawasomi. Wao hawasomi, which means they are not studying or they don't study. The Swahili verbs that don't end with the letter a, such as kuishi, which means to live, or kujaribu, which is to try, kujibu, which means to answer or to respond, kurudi, which means to return, and kufikiri, which is to think, don't change their ending when negated. Examples in the sentence are: mimi siishi Marekani. Mimi siishi Marekani, which means I don't live in the United States. The next one, yeye harudi Marekani. Yeye harudi Marekani, which means she's not returning to the US. The next one, wewe hujibu. Wewe hujibu, which means you are not responding. The next one, wao hawafikiri. Wao hawafikiri, which means they don't think. The last one, sisi hatujaribu. Sisi hatujaribu, which means we are not trying or we aren't trying. That marks the end of that class. The next class will be looking at reading about ukoo wa Baba Ali, which is the family root of Baba Ali, where he comes from. And I'm hoping to see you. Until next time, bye bye.